Megan here. All right, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
So we need a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
Motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I guess you got, okay. Meeting minutes for February 15th. Ed?
Okay, I'll have some corrections on the meeting minutes of February 15th, 24. Approval of the agenda was by Ed Brand and not Ed Lawson. And approval of minutes was Ed Brand to Amy Lawson. Other than that,
Not Ed Lawson to Ed. Amy
if them
Lawson.
could be corrected, I will make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes as corrected.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes as corrected.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. No old business, new business. The first is the RDC Annual Report from Krohn.
Hi,
Oh.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yep, I'm
We're not
Michelle
good.
Davis. I'm with Krohn Associates. I am happy to run through a high level summary of it. And if you have any questions.
That'd be great.
Okay. Well, does everybody have it in front of them or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to share my screen? Okay.
No need.
Okay, all right. So the first page, it just where it has like A, B, C, D, E, F, that page. The only thing that's really relevant is D, where it just talks about the expenditures of the Façade grant. I don't know how to say that. This Façade. Okay. It looks like you spent about 12,300 for Mati's Pizza, around 64,000 to advanced restoration. And then 4,000 for Kevin Crotchfelt and 14,000 just in grant administration. A new requirement this year is we have to put how much residential housing, if there was any residential housing programs, but you guys did not for 22, page 23. So that's H. That's a little bit different than last year, but if you guys do any res TIF programs, we just have to report the selling price and how many houses are in that TIF program. The next page, I have the cash flow for 23. It looks like this year, or 23, you started out around 2.5 million and your property tax increment went up about 280,000 from last year. That's due probably to, there was a lot of increased assessments in Hancock County, as well as I think Vernon Township was up for reassessment in 22, page 23. So it probably picked up buildings and new builds, things like that. And your expenditures, you spent more on development and overall than last year. Last year, you had majority expense was the payoff of the ban, but this year you did some more projects on Broadway and then the Façade grant ending in about $3 million. And then, so I'm going to go on to Appendix B, which just talks about the debt that we have for Fortville. This was issued in 23 for 2.5 million for the Ridgeview West apartment project. That has not, it's as of 23, pay 24. I don't see any improvements yet, so I'm sure they're still under construction at this point. So you won't see any increment probably for another few years, but
Michelle, this is Dan Hughey. I'm relatively new member.
Okay.
I did ask a couple questions about the bond issue, but it looks like it's a developer-backed TIF bond issue. Is that correct?
yes, all of theirs and all of the TIF from that goes to pay off that bond, that
Right.
those, that specific.
And it looks like the interest rate is almost 7.5% and it's taxable. So I guess
Yes.
the hope down the road would be once this TIF starts throwing off revenue, then we could possibly take it out with a standard tax exempt one down the road would be my guess. But I just wanted to at least make sure I was on the right track here. I know enough to be dangerous on municipal bonds.
Yeah, and I wasn't part of this issuance, so I'm not fully up to speed on it, but if you have any other questions, I can get those answered for you.
Yeah, no, that's good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. And then
Anyway.
that is really it. And if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Adam, do you have any questions on this?
No, nothing for me.
All right, then I guess we're looking for a motion.
Motion to approve the Krohn and Associates report as written.
I will second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, next we have a request from Kevin Crotchfelt for facade repair funding for 222 West Broadway. Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam presented.
It looks like it's you.
Just sitting there like,
It doesn't appear you're getting an introduction, so you can do that yourself.
I'm Kevin Crotchfelt. I own 222 West Broadway Street. And I'm looking to get facade grant money to restore it to look like an old filling station that it used to be. I have a tenant that is currently would like to move in there. And just looking for some help on the exterior of it because it was in pretty bad shape. Adam, last time it went a little different, so I apologize. I don't know what you guys want me to explain to you or ask for.
Sure. Well, I think I provided all of the paperwork to the commission,
Okay,
so they've got that. I guess the one thing that they'll probably want to know, and I guess I wanted some clarification on too, is what's the total amount of the project before any sort of RDC assistance?
so right now, the total amount of the project I have is $56,398.
Okay, so that's the total.
And that's without any brickwork because I wasn't sure when I was tearing off the facade how much brickwork would need to be done. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to re-brick the front of the building because it's not in good enough shape I can't save any of it. It's old porcelain brick. And then part of it had been damaged at some point throughout the years. So, but that would be the major thing. The only other addition would be for brickwork.
I have a few questions. Now this project, the total of your project's 56,398.08,
Yes.
and you're under the understanding that we usually only give 50% of the project on
Yes.
RDC grant.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay,
And then I'll be doing a full remodel of the interior also
right.
with my soon to be
then,
tenant, so.
Looking through these items, correct me if I'm wrong, but the facade as such in my estimation, the parking lot wouldn't be covered. And the station pump. And I think the other two items above that would be covered. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, or
Well, I would say that, so first I put together this memo, which is based on different guidelines that appeared in RDC meeting minutes over the last couple years on administration of the program. So you do have some discretion as to what should be qualifying. Obviously, at its core, it's a facade repair program. So it does say that funds are only to be used for structural needs, code requirements, accessibility issues, long-term facade improvements. In terms of the parking lot, I think if you wanted to contribute towards that, that would be towards overall site beautification. So I think that could be consistent with the intent of the program. And then I think the only other comment that I'd have, since we're on the topic, is in the appropriation for the facade repair program, it looks like you have about $19,700 left of that original appropriation that you made a couple years ago. Now, you could certainly you could put more money into that today if you wanted to as a group. So the nice thing about the program is that you do have some flexibility at your discretion in terms of administering the program.
I have a quick question. Didn't we say we were gonna put 75 in a year?
Well, from what I recall, and this is reflected in the documents, is back in, I was just talking to Ed about this, back in 2022, I believe is when the program was established. And the RDC said they would put 50,000 in for 2022 and then 25,000 in for 2023. So a total of 75,000 over those 2 years.
Okay.
And the money that you see, this 19,000 that's left, was basically carried over from, it was unused funds.
Okay. So we haven't funded it at all this year, correct? It's like,
No,
I don't-
not in
I
2024.
don't think we moved any
right.
this year. Okay.
so when was the library facade program? Do you remember? Adam?
Yeah, that was
last
December
year.
2023.
Okay,
And that's already been accounted for. So that's separate from the 19,700 that you have now.
so I guess this is a question for you, Adam. Would it be better to allocate, if my figures are right, 50% is not 28,199.08. Would it be better if we appropriate the 19,704 tonight? And then appropriate more money into that for another invoice?
Yeah, we can keep track of it, however.
I mean, what would be the appropriate way to do this? Should we appropriate the money tonight?
Yeah,
Or,
I mean, well, there's a couple things. So first, Kevin, what's the number divided by 2? It was 56,000 that
if I came up right, it's 28,199.08, but I may be wrong.
28,199.08. Well, what I would I think this could be the easiest to,
It's 04.
to administer. Is what if, again, if you're amenable to it, is maybe you have a motion and you first increase the allotment for 2024 to just bring it up to the non-allocated funds up to I was gonna say 50,000, but that's excluding what you're already that's right. The 20,000 was for 2023. So anyway, the easiest I think would be to ramp up that number, the 19.7, say that you're funding the remainder of the program to get it up to 50,000. And then that's your contribution for 2024 into the program, and then deduct accordingly. Does that make sense?
So
Okay,
just essentially decide how much we want to put in the program for the year and then do this portion.
Right. That's what I'd
That,
recommend.
I think that makes sense.
okay. So, what number would bring it to 50,000, Adam?
So it would be,
Or do we want to decide how much we want to put in for the year? So I say like, if we want to do $25,000 again allocated this year, or do we want to do 50,000? Because the program's kind of picked up, allocate those funds and then remove whatever we agree upon for him. Would be my thought process. Yeah. Yeah.
So your suggestion, Adam, is to appropriate 50,000 to be put into that fund tonight. And then we'll address his issue after that, right?
yeah, I think that's probably the easiest. Just basically give it an infusion of an appropriation of an additional 50,000. So that would bring it up to 69,704.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that approach too. I'd rather have it all appropriated so it can be utilized.
Mhm.
And then do we have to take any action on the 19, or has it already been appropriated?
That's already been
Making
appropriated.
sure
Yeah,
it
so,
was not sent back or anything.
Yeah.
So we-
okay.
We
So,
just kind of need to enter an agenda item here that we need to appropriate money. So does someone want to make a motion?
to
That,
amend
does everyone feel comfortable with 50K first?
Jacob, we need to turn your volume up,
Can you hear me?
barely.
All right, so Jacob Antrim, I'm doing my best Alex Intermill impersonation.
speak up a little bit, please.
Yeah,
It's really hard to hear you.
I'm hard hearing too.
You're not the only one.
all right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So my name's Jacob. I'm doing my best Alex Intermill impersonation tonight. And Adam, could you just help me out here? So we're talking about appropriating funds. So can we just kind of take a step back here and so are these funds we're talking about already in the RDC's budget, or are we pulling them from a different area and moving them to the RDC's budget?
no, they would already be in the RDC's budget. So, for example, this spreadsheet here is the commitments that the RDC has made over the years for various programs, capital expenditures, et cetera. And so a couple of years ago, the RDC established a local facade repair program. And they put in $50,000 in 2022. And then as part of it, put in $25,000 in 2023. And so there was some money that was left over of 19,704. It hasn't been appropriated in the sense of, through DLGF or anything like that. It's only, we'll call it, it's committed funds as part of their commitment. So.
Okay, yep, that helps. Just because if we were gonna do any appropriation, we'd have to have a public hearing on that. So I just want to make sure that the money that they're allocating is already within the RDC's budget, and we're not moving funds that are not already there. So that was my clarification here.
So,
Use the word,
hmm,
use the word allocate in your motion.
Allocate, commit, I don't know what you want.
okay,
Tell us what word to use,
Don't
Mr.
use
Lawyer.
I will make a
Allocate.
motion to allocate non-committed funds of 50,000 into the RDC Façade Repair Program.
Period.
Period.
Got a good beat and you can dance to it. Motion to approve.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, cool. Now we
Okay,
have more money.
now we got money.
Amy, I made that. Amy, that's 6C. Correct?
Okay, now we'll get back to Mr. Crutchfield.
6B.
Agreed.
We needed to move the money to spend it. So I
Okay.
would put that
You're
before
correct.
Kevin.
I'll flip flop those.
Okay, I don't think I have any other questions on the program for the facade program unless someone else does.
Am I allowed to ask who the tenant will be?
Yeah, Libby's Ice Cream is gonna move from Main
Ooh,
Street
wow.
up to there, and we're gonna do a drive-through for her.
Nice.
And then we're gonna have, all the garage doors will be working, so we'll have space for it to spill out into the parking lot. So, yeah, she gave me permission to say it. so
Very cool.
Well, it used to be an old Gulf station, so
Yeah.
the white brick that's there is porcelain. I just can't find it, and it's really hard to match, so we're gonna do white brick across the front again.
Fond memories of the Sinclair station where I grew up, going there every Sunday after church to get soda and some cash. So it's gonna look very similar to that, so that's pretty cool.
Is,
Want to spend some money?
Yes, we do.
if there's no other questions, I'll make a motion to approve $28,199.04 for the Crutchfield project.
That math has been checked and double checked and we concur.
Okay.
I double checked.
So triple check then.
I will second that and good luck with your project.
Thank
All
you
in
for-
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Cool. Congrats.
Thank you
Thank you very
for
much.
investing your
Yeah.
time and money in Fortville.
Look forward to the ribbon cutting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll try hopefully by July.
Yeah,
That's
free
great.
ice cream for everybody.
I think it's your kickback. Yeah,
On it.
all right. Review of financials.
I have no issues with financial. Does, I'll make a motion to approve the financials as written.
All in favor?
Need a second to that
Second it?
motion. I second.
Sorry. Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, opposed? None. All righty, and approval of invoices.
I was just curious. I mean, I realized the American Environmental was for the funeral home site. Again, I'm a new resident, so is this meaning we're looking at, you know, what we might have as contamination on the property, what we might have to clean up, is that correct?
Sort of, I'd say it's not even that severe, so to speak. So as part of the purchase, per our town attorney, per Alex, if since it would become town property, then by virtue of even having a phase 1 environmental site assessment, will give us some protections in the future if something were to ever be found.
I wanted to say that's
property.
wise, given the fact
Yeah.
there were chemicals used on that.
So it's
property,
really just,
Aldehyde and other things.
yeah, so in the actual phase one report, same thing. I mean, they stated that there could be a potential for that type of stuff, but it didn't sound like they had any reason to believe that there would be any concerns with environmental contamination. So it's really, in fact, in order to reduce costs on it, we contacted the same firm that did this environmental study when the current owners bought it a few years ago.
Got it.
And they basically updated it.
Good.
With today's information, and they went out and looked at it again, I believe. So there's some consistency there.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, none here. Motion to approve the invoices for payment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comments.
No.
Madam Public, any comments?
Kevin, you're a member of the public now too. You did your part, so if you want to make a comment.
If you have anything else you would like to speak. Staff comments? Sir Adam?
Unless you have any questions on anything.
Adam, I do appreciate you getting all the information of when I asked some questions about the bond.
Oh, sure, no
I forgot
problem.
How many pages are in it?
Yeah, they're
430 pages.
they're pretty lengthy, that's for sure. And there's really only about 3 that are really
I
important.
found the key pages and that's what I needed. Thank you.
Board comments?
None.
Nope.
Would anyone like to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
6:58.
Good. 6:58,
Amy, tight meeting.
the skill.
All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Michelle. Thanks, Jacob. She's hungry.
Tell Libby that you made a commitment,
You
free ice cream for the next year.